Roberto Duran against Irish Pat Lawlor. Let's take a look right now at the tail of the tape. Duran turns 40 in June, 12 years older than Lawlor. A 2-inch height advantage for Lawlor. Duran in good shape at 168, 7 pounds heavier than Lawlor, and a slight reach advantage for Lawlor. To the rules, 10-point must system in effect. 3 judges scoring the fight, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and the fighter can not be saved by the bell except in the final round. Duran Lawlor, super middleweight, scheduled for 10. Let's throw it to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you and welcome to the beautiful Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we have a spectacular night of action coming your way, and it's all brought to you by Don King Productions, Mirage 3M Promotions, and the Mirage, along with Budweiser, the king of beers. Introducing the officials for our next bout, the judges at ringside, Art Lurie, Paul Smith, Al Siciliano. And the referee in charge, he will be giving instructions, Vic Draculich. All right, fans, here we go. This first bout this evening is a super middleweight special attraction scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the blue corner. Entering the ring wearing green trunks with white trim, he is fighting out of San Francisco, California. His weight this evening is a ready 161 pounds. His very fine record, 14 victories, only 1 defeat, 4 wins by way of knockout. Welcome a fighter they call Irish Pat Lawlor. And his opponent across the ring. On my left, fighting out of the red corner, he enters the ring wearing white trunks with green and black trim. Hailing from Panama City, Panama, his weight this evening 168 pounds. With a veteran record of 86 victories, 8 losses, 60 big wins by way of knockout. He is the former 4-time world champion. He's known as Hands of Stone, presentando Manos de Piedra, Roberto Duran. Here's your referee in charge to give instructions, Vic Draculich.
2 seconds. All right, gentlemen, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Are there any questions? Any questions from the chief seconds? Remember, obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves now, let's get to it.
All right, we are getting set for Irish Pat Lawlor and Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran, his last fight right here, December 7th, 1989 at the Mirage, when he lost the decision to Sugar Ray Leonard for the WBC super middleweight title. To put this matchup in perspective age-wise, Lawlor was 4 years old when Duran turned pro in 1967. When Lawlor became an amateur in 1983, Duran already had 80 professional fights under his belt. Duran has been involved in more championship fights, 21, than Lawlor has fights, 15. But Lawlor says the experience factor of Roberto Duran does not faze him in the least. He says the pressure's on Duran because he's got the more fights.
Well, of course, that's about the only thing you can say. Not bad for a man who has multiple choices. He's also studying to be a real estate agent if things don't work out in the ring, if he loses his political career. So he's a man that can really talk. And right now, he's holding his own with Roberto Duran, who is just content to feel out this young kid, Lawlor. He's not showing too much respect for Duran. Not throwing much, but certainly not looking scared or apprehensive.
Lawlor, a very engaging young man with a tremendous gift for gab, studying real estate and also pursuing a career in politics. The question is, which is less dangerous, boxing or politics? Irish Pat Lawlor, unranked, goes 5'9 and a half, 161. He's 14-1 with 4 knockouts. The 39-year-old Roberto Duran, 86-8 with 60 knockouts, rated number 9 by the WBA, and of course the former 4-time world champion.
Age starting to catch up with Roberto Duran. There's no question about it that he doesn't have the speed nor the ferocity of the older or rather younger Duran. He didn't come out to take command. He's just letting this kid just peck away. Few punches that have been landed have been by Lawlor. Therefore, he is technically winning this round.
A very blustery night here in the desert of Las Vegas at the Mirage.
Temperature is dropping, and of course, for a guy like Duran, an older guy, that's bad news. I mean, he starts out a little warm, and all of a sudden this cold breeze is blowing off the desert. These old bones are going to start freezing up on Duran.
Duran comes off a split of a couple of fights in 1989. He decisioned Iran Barkley to win the WBC middleweight title. Lost that due to inactivity. Then here at the Mirage, fought for the WBC super middleweight crown and lost the decision to Sugar Ray Leonard on a very cold night. Remember that night when he came in wearing a blanket and a hat? It's a little warmer here this evening.
That was one of the most boring nights I've ever spent in boxing. I think that was one of the most shameful nights to have both men not put on any kind of a performance whatsoever. Right now, Duran is starting to pick up the pressure, but he's eating jabs, ineffective as they are.
And round 1 is history. And you hear the reaction from the crowd. A feeling out process that the crowd was not too keen on.
Mano, me está marchando. Eso no pasa mucha vez.
La más segura que el jab marca, ¿sabes?
Sí.
Duran saying to his corner, his left hand is bothering me. He keeps repeating, his left hand is bothering him. I don't know what he threw it at. He barely threw a punch. He barely hit anything.
Yeah, it's gonna move along.
He looks worried.
Come on, go.
Round 2, it is scheduled for 10. Roberto Duran, according to Ferdy, of course they were speaking Spanish, complaining about the left hand.
He just kept saying it over and over again. My left hand's hurting. I don't know what he punched. He didn't hit anything with it. On the other hand, Lawlor, however slow that round was, won the round because he was doing the pecking and pawing there, whereas Duran was just doing the chasing. As you see now, he's trying to get that right hand in because the left obviously is bothering him. Look at that pawing jab that he's doing out there. That has no force to it. You can't control with that kind of a jab.
Lawlor says he doesn't really have a game plan going in, adapts to his opponent, but with Duran, he'll look to move more side to side and avoid the corners.
Right now, you better avoid the right hand because that appears to be the only weapon that Duran serves. Nice shot by Lawlor.
A snappy right by Pat Lawlor, who is moving side to side and is up on his toes. They do have an interesting common opponent, Ferdy, former world champion Wilfredo Benitez. Lawlor's last fight, a decision over Benitez, but a weathered through-the-mill Benitez. Benitez beat Duran back in 1982, but that, of course, was a very different Benitez.
And that's why you can throw out these comparisons almost immediately. If you looked at both of them, you would, without knowing that, you would say, oh boy, this kid's really in tough here. And actually, that's a meaningless statistic. Right now, he's got a guy that doesn't look real sharp. Roberto Duran doesn't look real sharp. We may be in for another one of those evenings where a legend cannot hold his own against a young, aggressive kid. Oh, another right hand. Another good right hand by Lawlor. I mean, I can't remember when anybody could land a straight right hand like that on Duran.
Duran being caught looking slow.
Oh, shades of Leonard Norris in the garden. If the corner of Lawlor sees what I see, he's going to, and speeds him up, he can be landing punches with rapidity, and Roberto Duran will be blowing these rounds one by one.
Now, I don't know if Pat Lawlor came into this fight just thinking that, hey, someday I can tell my grandchildren that I fought the legend Roberto Duran. Right now, he must feel that that he has an opportunity to beat Roberto Duran. Duran, of course, seeking to become the first Latin fighter to win 5 world titles in as many weight classes, but at this rate, he may be looking for a new career.
Yeah, he's stumbling here. It's only the second round, but remember, just take a look at that left hand. He's not using it. Just keep looking at Duran's left. He doesn't throw it hard. He just jabs with it, and the jab is like just pawing out. He's hoping he doesn't hit anything with his, what looks like he's looking for that right hand. There it went.
Final seconds, round 2.
And again, Lawlor steals around.
Well, the crowd continues to boo. Through 4 decades, the many faces of Roberto Duran, a career that began in 1967 at age 15 when he started as a bantamweight. His first world title came in the 70s as a lightweight. The 80s highlighted by the 2 fights with Sugar Ray Leonard. The brawl for it all won by Duran. No muss when Duran quit in the 8th. The lackluster loss Ferdy was referring to Leonard here at the Mirage closed out the last decade. Tonight, Roberto Duran ventures into the 90s.
Take a look at these little right hands. Now, when do you think you'd ever see Duran get hit by a right hand like that? Especially a kid with a few fights as Lawlor's got. Let's take another look, and you can see how Roberto just doesn't react. It's just not a good reaction on his part.
Round 3 scheduled for 10. A very confident Irish Pat Lawlor, who is also part Italian, but he said Irish-Italian Pat Lawlor is just too long a nickname. So he stuck to Irish Pat from the Sunset District of San Francisco, Irish Catholic area. Talking about Roberto Duran of the 4 decades. Let's see, Ferdy, by the year 2000, he'll only be 49. Do I hear 5 decades?
This is the Duran, again, a stiff jab that's catching Duran. Well, we're going to have to peek into Lawlor's corner and see if they're aware of the fact that Duran is ineffective with the left. There was a rumor floating around that he'd hurt his right shoulder. Duran, if that's the case, boy, that's a race car without any wheels on it.
Now, Pat Lawlor not only soliciting for votes because he wants to run for mayor of San Francisco, but he's also advertising a San Francisco FM rock station on the back of his trunks, KFOG, K-F-O-G. Well, man is a walking billboard.
Yeah. He got hurt. He got hit by the first good punch that Duran has thrown. Duran is going to have to just decide to take the pain in the left hand and start using it. I mean, he's certainly a brave and valiant fighter. As you get older, you get a little bit more leery of hurting your hand on a permanent basis, so this may be playing the game. Again, keep your eye on his left hand.
Duran, who checked in at 168, but looks flabby.
Break clean.
And he got butted, and he gave one of those, listen, you don't want to hit me with your head, do you?
A lot of movement by Lawlor, looking for the right moment.
I just can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe that Roberto Duran has thrown out a jab that's missing by 6 inches unless it's his intention to miss by 6 inches. Look at that. Just a pawn. Just to try to set up the right. Again, the right. No follow-up with the left. Now, Roberto's known for punching in bunches. If he catches you with the right, then you can expect the zinging left hooks to follow. Nothing follows.
It has been a rather uneventful fight in terms of Roberto Duran at this point. Duran, who turns 40 in June.
Watch the kidney punches.
Watch the kidney punches, says the referee, Vic Draculich, to Roberto Duran. That right by Lawlor missed. As we head for the bell.
First decent round for Duran, and I'm not sure he won that one. Let's go to Duran's corner and see what's happening.
Respira. Bota. Respira. Bota. notado que si tú calientas se te va esa vaina, porque ya te he estado viendo un poco bien ahora, ¿me entiendes? Así que, sí, boxeale para conectar, ¿me entiendes? Para tan siquiera llevarnos la decisión por si acaso. Boxeale para conectar.
He is saying box him so you can connect. Forget about the hand. Let's go to a decision if we have to go to a decision. Box him to connect. Let's listen to Lawlor. Well, that was a wrong moment.
You're looking good, Pat. You're looking good.
That was a world-class belt you just heard in the corner. Lawlor is a man of many sides.
I thought that was you. Round 4 scheduled for 10. Impeccable timing on the part of the wannabe mayor of San Francisco, Irish Pat Lawlor.
Well, Lawlor looks very fresh. He looks like he's having a very good time.
Little bolo movement there by Lawlor. He can't get too cute, though.
No.
Now he's backing Duran into his own corner. Let's see what happens here.
Duran's just looking for the right hand. He's not looking to do anything with the left. He's backing himself in the corner, trying to set a trap for the right hand without following with the left. Again, Lawlor connecting. Not big, but there's points connected there.
A combination by Pat Lawlor. They're just pawing away here in round 4.
Some scattered boos. People expect Roberto of the other decade, not Roberto of the 90s.
The biggest action of the fight right there, but not much impact. Again, Lawlor just dancing around on his toes against a flat-footed Duran.
Come on, let's go.
These two were involved in an exhibition a couple of years ago in the Bay Area. So they have met each other before. It didn't count then.
Let's go, come on.
Another strong jab by Lawlor. Those jabs are popping the head of Duran back. Duran not even trying to block him or slip him. That's a sign of old reflexes.
Come on.
The brain sees it coming, but can't get the message down fast enough.
Duran, 39 years old. Meanwhile, Pat Lawlor didn't begin boxing until he was 19. Duran turned pro at 15 when Lawlor was 4 back in 1967. Apparently, though, the fact that Lawlor is fighting a legend, big miss there by Duran, doesn't seem to be affecting Lawlor.
He looks like he's having a good time. He smiled at that big right-hand miss of Duran's. If he could get the idea that Duran is basically fighting a one-arm fight, and he can start circling away from that right hand, then boy, the whole fight would be his for the taking.
I can even detect a smile by Lawlor. Lawlor landed with a right to the head of Duran.
And Duran seemed to get caught up on that ring tape there, and if he did indeed have some kind of a bother to his right shoulder, that certainly didn't feel good. Again, he gets hit. Duran again hit by his jab.
A crunching shot by Pat Lawlor that connected.
Another right hand by Lawlor. If Lawlor's got a little Irish in him to get...
Big right hand on the bell by Pat Lawlor. Just as the bell sounded, Pat Lawlor unleashing a heavy right on Roberto Duran.
All you have to do is keep your hand on his face.
This is the end of the 4th round, and let's listen.
You're looping everything, see? And you're missing it because he works a lot, you know? What you do, move around, park around.
That was simultaneously almost with a bell, but it did land, and it certainly was point building. He has taken 3 out of 4 rounds on my card quite unofficially. He is ahead 39 to 37 is Pat Lawlor. He's giving him too much respect. His corner said too much respect. You got to combine those punches. Why aren't you throwing his hand, your left hand? And Roberto just shook his head.
Round 5 scheduled for 10. Irish Pat Lawlor in the green trunks showing no respect for the veteran Roberto Duran.
Well, at this point, if Lawlor can get the picture that all he has to do is stay active and outspeed Duran, he's got an easy decision here. But of course, Duran is a legend. He goes all the way to the end. He can knock you out a minute before the last bell sounds with that right hand. This is almost a replay of what happened with Sugar Ray Leonard and Terry Norris. Another good gongy right hand, exactly what happened in the Garden. And Norris in the Garden was so careful of Leonard that he didn't knock him out, although he put him down twice. Let's see if Lawlor has the same kind of patience, or if he decides to just go all out for a knockout.
Well, in 15 professional bouts, Lawlor has but 4 knockouts. Wouldn't it be something if number 5 came against Roberto Duran?
I would not believe it's possible unless you saw it. It might be a technical knockout, or it might be a stoppage in the corner, but I could not see him with his lack of punching power starching Roberto Duran.
There's a snappy left by Lawlor that connected. Duran is getting tagged.
Getting tagged and getting tagged clean. That was a nice right hand by Duran. The first good one that landed, but it didn't land with a great effect. Didn't even shake up Lawlor at all.
There's a little trickle of blood under the right eye of Roberto Duran. And Duran missing with the right.
Well, what a night Duran picked to hurt his left hand, because he is strictly a one-handed fighter here. This crowd not quite believing what they're seeing, scattering of boos with every round as if expecting something much better from this legend and not getting it.
Roberto Duran beginning his 4th decade of boxing. Will it be the final fight for Roberto Duran?
Big lump under the right eye of Roberto Duran, starting to break open. A little trickle of blood coming out. Lawlor unmarked and has no reason to be marked. He has hardly been hit. The jab continues to land flush on the right.
There's a right by Duran, but it didn't have much impact. Lawlor comes away smiling.
As these rounds while away and these punches land, Lawlor's got to build up a tremendous amount of confidence.
Lawlor showing a lot of patience.
If he wins here, do you think he'd have a chance of being mayor of San Francisco?
He may go on to governor of California. Roberto Duran could probably run for a mayor of Panama City. Well, certain years anyway. And that is it for round 5.
Comienza a conectar ese jab, ¿entiendes? Nada más que aunque lo toque nada más.
He said even if you touch him with the jab, but throw it. Touch it and then set up your right hand.
Tienes que tirártelo encima. ¿Entiendes? Ya estamos.
Okay. The low blow that you'll see in a moment is the kind of stuff that's roughing up. See that low blow right there? That's kind of lack of respect and discombobulating Duran. He's getting manhandled. He's getting punched. He's getting punched after the bell. He's getting hit under the belt. No respect is what he's getting tonight.
Round 6 scheduled for 10, and I did not see a caution by referee Vic Draculich off that low blow.
In all truthfulness, it didn't look like it was that effective. It was low, but it didn't look like a hard body shot. Can't get over the feeling that Lawlor is having just a wonderful time here. I mean, it's like a delayed reaction to St. Patrick's Day. He's just having a great time.
Lawlor was going through the press room throughout the days leading up to this fight and shaking everybody's hand and campaigning and wishing everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. But he is certainly having his way here. There's a good left jab by Pat Lawlor. Irish Pat Lawlor, only his 16th pro fight against Roberto Duran, who is 86-8. Youth against experience, but Lawlor not at all being intimidated by Duran.
And out-slicking and out-speeding Roberto Duran. Duran stalking, a one-handed type of stalking. He's trying to land that right hand and just barely setting him up with a jab that doesn't land.
Lawlor says, I might not have the power to knock Duran out, but it will definitely go the distance. and I feel that I can outbox him. Well, so far, he's living up to his word.
His jab is landing strong, and a right hand strong against Duran. Remember, Duran's got one of the great jaws ever seen in boxing. One of the chins of iron. I mean, to go with those hands of stone. And a great deal of heart. The heart only in question once. Oh, he hurt his arm. That's it. That's it. That's it. He can't fight anymore. That's going to be it. That is it. That's the left arm. Here comes the doctor, Skip Omansky, and he is not going to flip. Omansky is not going to let this continue. Timeout. What's he going to do? Pull it back in place? And he got hit right on the shoulder. It was already hurting.
I need a translator. Come up here.
We're hearing that he needs a translator.
Purdy, you should go help him.
If he cannot lift it now, it's over.
Dice que se terminó esto, si no puede, así que dale, Vector. Tú le ganas con la derecha, Vector.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
It is all over.
It can go.
Irish Pat Lawlor
No.
with a technical knockout against Roberto Duran. And Roberto Duran arguing with the doctor.
We'll make a rematch.
Flip Pomansky says, I'm sorry. I heard somebody say, make a rematch. I think that was Lawlor.
Yeah. The actual happening is he got hurt. I don't think he can continue anyway. This is a little bit of drama that makes it look good, but the fact of the matter is that he can't continue. If he continues, then it would be more of the same.
Why are you stopping the fight, says Duran?
Nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him. What's wrong with you?
So we begin the night with controversy.
Well, once again, age. You just can't beat Father Time. He was looking terrible. He was fighting a one-arm fight. In all fairness to Roberto Duran, this didn't look like anything like the Roberto Duran of the last 3 decades. Maybe the weight loss is too much. Maybe he did hurt his hand, but he certainly hurt his shoulder just then. He had a hurt hand and a hurt shoulder. I don't know why he wants to continue anymore, except for the drama that goes on with a macho kind of guy that doesn't want to quit.
Rematch for sure, Roberto. The words of the Pat Lawlor camp. Unranked Irish Pat Lawlor stopping former 4-time world champion Roberto Duran. We're going to take a look at the end of the 6th round. We're going to look and listen and see exactly what happened. Check it out.
I love y'all.
Now that punch was right on his shoulder. Did you see that? It's almost as if he has a shot of nerve. You know, when you pull your nerve and your whole arm goes numb, that's what it looks like has happened to him. Now they asked him if he continued, if he could lift his arm. They had said no. If we can catch that again on the mic, we will see what happened. But I think the doctor was entirely correct in stopping him to begin with. He's way behind.
Jimmy Lennon has the announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time 1 minute 50 seconds in round number 6. The referee in charge, Vic Draculich, stopping the contest on advice of the ringside physician due to damage to Roberto Duran's shoulder. Therefore, the winner by way of technical knockout, Irish Pat Lawlor.
So there he is, Irish Pat Lawlor from San Francisco, scoring a 6th-round technical knockout over an injured Roberto Duran, who is still steaming over the fact that the fight was stopped.
But he's still holding his arm.
Sure.
The fact remains that he's still showing every indication that that arm is hurt, that he's not comfortable with it, that he's in pain. He's holding the arm. So behind on points, really being outboxed. And I really don't think that he has an objection in the world. Once again, an old fighter against a young kid. The young kid wins.
So a very content Irish Pat Lawlor comes up with obviously the biggest victory of his career.